St. John Board of Stormwater Management meeting for Wednesday, September 20th at 6 p.m. Call the meeting to order. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call, please?
Ken Gambala is absent. Vanessa Merkel.
Present.
Bob Zaney.
Here.
Joe Wizawati.
Present.
Brian Blazak.
Present.
Since you only have 2 of the 3 members, all votes need to be unanimous.
Okay. All right, we have the minutes from the, oh, sorry. Oh, let's see, yeah. We have the minutes from the August 28th, 2023 meeting. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from July 19th, 2023.
Okay, we have a motion. I'll second that. All in favor to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approves. Motion approved. Okay. Looks like we're going to be running into the next item, which is a public comment. Is there anybody that has any public comment this evening? If so, you can please come to the podium.
Did you get a list, Bob? Joe brought it up for you.
Yeah, there is no, is there others? Because if you want to speak, does anybody want to sign in to speak?
Anybody else?
Okay. No, I
That's
just
that's okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mary Lou Vermeer, and I live at 11917 West 107th Place in St. John. I'm here to make you aware of what is happening in my development of Weston Ridge, and I have brought pictures with me to show you if you want to see what's happening.
Please, thank you.
I have another set that I would like to
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Mary Lou Vermeer.
If you'd like to explain, it looks like some erosion is occurring.
Yeah, I can, the first picture that you have there, that's at the ravine, right by St. John Catholic Church where the rectory is.
Okay.
And he has that path of flowers. Okay, the water comes out of that culvert.
Culvert pipe.
And it is now, you can see where there's cloth laying down. That culvert was laying at ground level when it was put in. It is now such a deep hole. It's deeper, it's as deep as probably that lowest thing down to the floor
Okay.
where the water falls in. And as you can see, all that water is eroded a huge room, about, the size of my dining room. That's how big that water is rushing in there with nothing to stop it from eroding any of that dirt away. The ravines are getting eroded away. The second picture is a picture of a tree where half its roots are exposed. It's a very large tree. It's going to fall. The water is just going to keep, it has over half of the roots gone, exposed already. This picture, the fourth picture or the third picture is a picture of the ravine north of 108th Place. We have 2 ravines in Weston Ridge, in the woods of Weston Ridge. One at the end of 107th and one at the end of where 108th and Olcott. And all the water from the streets west of Olcott come through these ravines in our area.
Okay.
I think this retaining wall was put in by the developer, I think. This was before my time, and I was told it was put in when the statute of limitations was still in place. And as you can see in that picture, when I looked at this in 2014, there was like about that much water, land, before that wooden barrier. That is all eroded away now. And the dirt is twice from there to the creek at the bottom, it's almost twice as far as it was in 2014 when I moved in. That's how much water has eroded the dirt away.
Mary Lou, you said you lived at, I'm sorry. Mary Lou, you said you lived at 107th place, is that correct?
117th place.
Oh.
17th.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, 107th, yes,
I was
you're
like,
right.
wait, you're out of town. Yeah. Why are you here?
Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Are you guys all from the Weston
problem.
Ridge? Okay, okay.
So we're concerned about what's happening in our ravines because we love those trees, they're gonna fall. There's one about that big.
Well, and you know, we could talk a little bit more about that. John Dykstra's here from Robinson Engineering. He can kind of speak to, you know, any improvements in the, you know, floodway and the flood area that's behind that property. So if you could look at the map up over here, I don't know which house is yours. Can you identify that?
Yeah, my house is right here.
Okay, so you're right up over there. So if you,
And the ravine is right here.
yeah.
And then the other ravine.
So this is before it gets to the floodway or floodplain.
Yeah, yes, and that's no longer a pond.
Right.
You can see, it's a marsh now.
Yeah, yeah, and that, I mean, it's probably intended that way, because it looks like it's a wetland, a
I
designated
think when it was developed, I was told that the people that bought lots there said it's gonna be a pond with a path around it.
Is there anyone here representing the Weston Ridge Homeowners Association, Property Owners Association?
We are all just members that are
Members?
concerned.
Is there anyone that's on the board there that's here today?
Yes.
Okay.
The picture right here of the rocks, this was done shortly after I moved there, I think, I'm not sure. And
that's in
then,
that ravine area, right?
this
Correct.
is then 108th place, right where the water comes out off of Old Cot.
Okay.
And then the next picture, so this picture, the rocks kind of, it's, I put on there, they put the stones in to slow down the erosion, but only for just a short distance. Then I turned around and took a picture of the next picture. Most of the ravine is like this. And it's just eroding all that dirt away. I mean, you've got like almost 10 feet worth of dirt eroded away by now in some places. This is a picture of the pond where, you know, the homes at the end of 108th Place had a beautiful pond. It is now all marsh.
Okay.
So those are the pictures, and now I can read what I wrote just to tell you.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. The stormwater from St. John west of Olcott Avenue is being dumped into our ravines. One just north of 108th Place and another at the end of 107th Place. These ravines run into what used to be a pond but has become filled with silt and is now nothing but a marsh. This stormwater
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
runoff is causing the ravines to erode. These ravines should have been tiled or lined with rocks to prevent this. This is causing problems such as washing dirt from tree roots, causing them to fall, undermining retention walls of our properties, and undermining the culverts where the water comes from. I would like to know what St. John can do to correct this situation, or if not St. John, then who?
It's a very good question, Mary Lou, and I appreciate that question as well. So if you look on the section where Jason has identified the light blue area, if you could zoom out just to get a full scope of that. So this is the property that's identified as the area that's just adjacent east of the subdivision. This property is identified as owned by the Weston Ridge Property Owners Association.
And that's not us.
Right.
We're the homeowners association.
Okay, well,
The property owners association is everything west of Olcott.
okay, so the properties that are located west of that, if you want to highlight those, Jason, like that little, where that green line is, that area.
Everything on,
So that is also by the Property Owners Association. So whether it's a
That-
homeowners or
no,
property
no.
owners association, I don't know if it's one and the same.
no, they're not the same. The Property Owners Association is different than the Homeowners Association.
Who is the Property Owners Association if it's not the,
We are a unit inside of Weston Ridge. As I understand it, Weston Ridge Homeowners Association has Property Owners Association. We pay dues into the Property Owners Association.
Okay.
The HOA does.
Right.
We also pay dues into just
HOA.
The HOA.
right? So you got HOA and POA.
Yes,
Okay.
yep. But all the POA water,
Is there anyone here from the POA? Or no? Okay. I just want to make sure that there's someone here that's,
Yeah,
well,
at
you
least
know what, we're
representing.
all part of the POA technically, because we
Right.
pay dues into the POA.
okay. But you're the homeowners association. that
We,
handles the maintenance and all that other stuff, right?
Yes.
I gotcha.
but we come as concerned citizens. We do not feel the homeowners association is responsible for this.
Right, but again, and you're probably right, because the POA may be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the stormwater management for this. So I don't know. I haven't, this is the first I'm hearing about this, so this is kind of interesting. So the property that that you're identifying belongs to the Property Owners Association, not the town of St. John. Just I want to get that out there first. What can the town do? Again, I don't know.
As I understand it, though, the town had to okay that water going in there.
Yeah, technically, I mean, I guess the town would have to have okayed it at some point, but, you know, with respect to the maintenance and upkeep of that, there has to be some kind of agreement or something in place for the maintenance of that,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
But-
There should be some kind of covenant for the POA and the HOA explaining what they're
And
responsible
Mary Lou, I'm
for.
sorry, this is John Dykstra. He's from Robinson Engineering. He's the town's engineer, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, drainage is my thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, so when those entities were created, it should say what they were responsible for. And you correctly have highlighted, certain land areas that they had jurisdiction over, if we use that word to say it. And that alone is not the only thing that might have some say-so. Like she's mentioning ravines, they could be considered wetlands. You can't just dump rock in a ravine that might be identified by the Corps as wetland. I see it's hydraulically connected to the floodplain, and so there's a likelihood of that, but without an assessment, it couldn't be shown, so.
Right. Well, I mean, before we start getting into a lot of expense, I mean, obviously, they've got some serious concerns, and rightfully so.
I would recommend, pulling out the plans for this subdivision. I don't know what the date was that this was constructed, but hopefully we have that on file. We can look for that.
Is there any original owners out there?
Yeah.
When did you buy your property?
202 and 203 is when it was all developed.
2002?
Okay.
Okay,
It was all
okay,
done by Schilling.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's about 20 years old,
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
I would think we have that, or the town has that. in
I would think
archives.
we'd have
Would the town also have copies of the covenants? And if not,
We,
would anybody be willing to provide the covenants? From the HOA?
If we don't have them, we can get them because they're recorded as part of the
Okay.
subdivision.
Yeah, yeah.
Mary, just so you know, Jack Slager emailed me about this last week, and I asked him exactly what storm runoff is it. Is this I couldn't figure out where he was talking about in his email.
This Bob Valois, he's our
I'm the-
Public
I'm
Works.
Public Works and Stormwater. And now that I know where it's coming from, is that the drainage coming from the church parking lot and runs into that ravine? Is that
I-
correct? That's correct. Okay.
West of Wolcott, too.
And then all of this, excuse me,
No, go ahead.
my name's
But if
Jack-
you would come up. to
Please
the
come forward,
microphone.
yeah.
Yeah.
My
State your
name's
name.
Jack Elzinga. I live at 10794 Oak Ridge Court. We were one of the original owners of the properties, and from the beginning, we could see some erosion
unnecessary erosion from massive water. And let me point this out where.
Go ahead. It just, make sure you come back to the microphone, because it's hard, otherwise it's hard to hear.
This is HOA. All of this is POA. There's a There's approximately 350 homes total between the POA and HOA. We, however it's deeded or covenant-wise, we, the HOA, gets all of the POA water except for the church's water that goes into that ditch that was eroded at least by 8 to 10 feet from the original. So we feel it's an engineering issue from the beginning. The infrastructure that was put in there, and I would hope that it wouldn't be put on either the HOA or the POA.
Sure.
That's our concern. That's our total concern.
Well, and I appreciate you actually defining which is the HOA and which is the POA. So, so I was a little confused there, but at least it gives a good perspective of it. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
As long as we have the plans, I'll be able to figure out what and how this was designed to function. The one thing about stormwater runoff, and I understand how you're describing it, stormwater runoff goes downhill. So rule number one, it flows downhill. I know that sounds kind of silly,
No.
but when there's a massive development such as this, and I have no idea how well or how it was designed or what, so we would have to look at the plans and any reports that were prepared for that. But if to the west of you, if that area is higher, it's likely the engineers, whoever engineered it, designed it to go towards the direction of where the floodplain is. So, and as you say, that water comes from up there at us. Well, that's very logical.
There's no question
Yeah.
that it was designed to do exactly
Yeah.
what it's doing and where it's going.
Yeah.
Our concern is that there isn't the proper infrastructure to handle that amount of water.
Yeah, I don't know how it was designed or what was put in, but it would have had to meet the code at the time. I would think that it was held to that standard in 2002. Again, we're 20 years later. But the way the code is, a certain amount of runoff is conveyed by storm sewer underground. Now, that's only a portion of, say, a larger rain event, but that's how the codes are written. And the rest is supposed to, we call it flood route, or go over land
Right.
through drainage paths or down the road or in ravines or some other way. So, so that's what we want to get to the bottom of. How was it directed, and is it following what it was supposed to follow? Is it,
That's a big
has it
change.
made a new course somewhere? And if that's the case, then our findings would find that out and report that, and then work to see, well, what would the town's recommendation be? Because as a consultant, we only recommend to the town, and then the town takes action, or it might involve a recommendation back to the HOA, then to the POA, because if they have a jurisdiction over those things, you might say, hey, we think this fix might help, but the town isn't the responsible party to say, pay for it, but the POA may be the party to pay for it. I don't know. We'll have to search that all out, so. But, you know, these are very real concerns, and we appreciate you coming forward, because we don't want anyone's structures, your homes, impacted by water, stormwater.
And there are a few homes on 108th that are dangerously close to being affected.
Yeah, that's great. I know you provided some photos to them. If anyone else has photos or video, even videos, like you have a video of it flowing in action, please provide that.
John, I have these photos. I'll
Okay.
forward those to you.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I just got it early last week or the week.
Okay. Yeah, the more information we can gather from, the eyes on the ground, the more it will help.
Oh, I'll go out there and take my own
Yeah,
photos
yeah.
as well.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mike Bertocchi. I live at 10857 Matthias. There's two things. In that spill-off area, there's a concrete culvert pipe, and that would be let out to the creek. That's collapsed now.
The concrete pipe has.
Concrete pipe.
I'll show you.
Yeah, yeah. That's no bueno.
No, that's no blue.
In this area is a concrete pipe there, that all the water goes and then goes out that pipe to the creek behind it. That's
Right.
gone, that's collapsed.
So the concrete pipe that feeds from what would be a retention or detention pond into the
Yeah, it
creek.
takes everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, without seeing the plan, Joe, that almost looks like that was maybe the likely outlet for that pond.
Right.
And those things do happen. They do wash out sometimes. Yeah.
Well,
That's off
especially if you got a lot of
Matthias?
water
Is that
flow.
what you- Is that off Matthias? Is that what?
Yeah, that's directly, pretty much behind our houses there.
Saying
on
like by where it
Matthias.
says 667.
You can't see it because, the weeds are so.
Yeah.
All right, the second thing is when I worked at O'Hara, they made these concrete blankets. And they're yay wide by I don't know how thick. The only thing I can say to kind of retain the banks in the water is maybe start and then stack them, as you're working your way up and they curve up. Look into something like that to, to stop the erosion, but yet let the water down if you can't be converted some other way through the storm pipes. So just a suggestion.
Yeah,
Sure.
those are called revetment mats, and they're used in certain circumstances. There are some other methods too,
Yeah,
so.
but something to kind of,
Thank you.
because driving steel pylons in, to keep the houses from falling in, just trying to think of the cheapest thing,
Sure.
And Jonathan, and Bob,
Thank you.
if we could get together on a time and kind of go out there and walk that whole area, just to
Yeah.
kind of see what we're looking at in terms of erosion,
Okay,
and then come up with some kind of solutions for it.
yeah.
Sure. Come forward.
That's all right.
I'll share.
Thank you.
My name is Eric Whitmer. I'm 11998 West 108th Place. I live right here on this corner. Water from wherever is coming out of a drainage pipe. And that's what's starting it right here and then going in the culvert.
So it goes,
Very
so
right.
that water drains to the rear of your house then, at that point?
Yes,
I got
it
you.
starts on the south, it works its way north on the east side of Alcott.
Yeah, if you could move back to the microphone, so that way we can all hear you, sorry. But I know where we're talking about here.
Between my home and Alcott, even in the hottest day of summer, that is water. You cannot walk across that culvert without sinking in a foot of mud. It's just not draining. I don't know why it's not draining. It's not draining. And then as it makes the corner going west towards the back of my property, it's just taking my yard with it. It's taking my wife's garden with it. You can see some of the stones falling. I mean, there used to be 3 or 4 feet, and this is just the beginning of the culvert.
Good job, Jason.
Not including everything that's coming from our neighborhood, but this is just one spot.
He's got the pictures up there, just in case.
Oh, yeah. So this was taken yesterday, and I know it did rain on the weekend, but, oh, well, yeah, today, sorry.
Oh,
And that, you can see the pipe, but it never dries out right there. So there's definitely something wrong with the grading. But it's just gotten worse. It used to be the Eric Whitmer River, and then the Gulch, and now it's dangerous. I mean, it's 4 feet deep there on that middle picture. Used to not be that way at all. I've lived here for 10 years, so.
Eric, what's the bottom left-hand corner picture? Is that, culvert?
That is my wife's garden falling into the end of the culvert
Okay,
there.
that's that picture. from
It's
the
a
top right
closer
corner.
view of the top right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, we certainly appreciate the pictures and your comments, and again, I think we'll take a look at this and, as we had talked about before, so,
Okay, appreciate it.
thank you.
Did you scan those pictures? Jake? Okay, good.
Is there any other, please?
I just want to point out that when this was developed, there was no streets. There were no streets. The water would just soak into the ground. And then what little water would drain into the ravines had a lot of time over farmland to get to the ravines. I don't understand why any engineer would say it was okay to put all that street water and all the roof water down into coming out of one little culvert and not put something there to protect those ravines. I don't know why a DNR would approve that, and I don't know why the Army Corps of Engineers would approve that. They messed up the ravine. It's irreplaceable. It's unfixable. But you have to stop this drain water. You have to stop it. It's not our water. It's the city's water. It's off the streets. And it's ruining the land. And it's killing trees. And it's taking away the beauty of the natural land. This shouldn't be. No developer should develop something like this way. I just want to make a point of that. And
No.
then to make us pay for that mistake? We're people that moved in 15, 20 years later. How can no one could do that. I don't see how
appreciate that.
any city with integrity would do that.
Yeah, but I think everybody here understand. It was great to
So
hear
that's
everybody speaking
my
today,
parting
and I-
comment to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there any other public comment at this time?
And
Yes, sir.
My name is Bill DeBoer. I live right next to Mike, who showed you the place there.
Okay.
My property backs up to the pond, and when I moved in '06, it was all flowers. There was no weeds growing. It had just been built, and it was in very nice shape. Now, we can't see any water, and there were 3 ponds that we could see from our house, and now you can't see any of it. And we had the wildlife to go with it, and that's no longer. And they charged me $8,000 extra for my lot. And I'm sure the rest of the homeowners paid that too, because of the view.
Sure.
And now our view is weeds, so, yeah. And also, Elmer DeBoer lived next door to me at that time. He has since passed on. But he and I and another man built a dam because there was a berm built at the far south end of that pond, and that had all washed out. The material was still up there, but it was hollow underneath. So we put a dam in to keep the water from leveling out the lake, and that's holding as far as I know, but we've been keeping an eye on that. And that was our own expense that we did that, so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, is there any other further public comment with regards to this? Any further public comment? Okay. Thank you all for letting us know this and providing this information and these pictures. It really gives us a good idea. And as we had talked about, the town and the engineer will take a look at this and, we'll investigate and then just provide some recommendation to the town.
You want to keep these? You may.
we've got copies.
I think
already.
Bob
We-
said
we
that he
scanned
had
them.
those. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Mary Lou and everyone thank you for coming out. Again, to Mr. Zany's point, we do appreciate you coming out. Please feel free to follow up with my office. Anastasia in my office here in the town manager's office would be happy to kind of keep you guys informed as to what's going on. So, or just stop in. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have some, is there any old business before we get to the new business? Okay, I think we'll get to the new business with the 2024 stormwater management budget. Daniel Dalton from Center Dalton. The floor
Sure.
is yours.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, I can't start?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, so every year, every municipality in the state of Indiana is required to adopt and submit a budget.
I'm sorry,
down
can
to
you
the-
wait one moment, please? You're
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, the town is required to submit a budget to the state every year for the following calendar year. And so the council is having their first public hearing next week. And so we thought it a good opportunity to run the proposed stormwater budget by the board members. So just a few high-level comments, and then we can open it up for questions.
Are you on the sheet or?
I was,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
looking at the
Thank you.
Well,
spreadsheet.
can I start on the sheet before that?
Sure.
Okay, so the stormwater management department, if you will, is a new department for 2024. The annualized revenue that we're anticipating is about $1 million. Currently, there's nothing in the proposed budget that Daniel will be going over with you that calls for any salaries, retirement, longevity, or benefits at this point. Supplies and services and charges are stated. Capital projects equate to about $215,000, which is for MS4 compliance. The total budget for the stormwater management department is $392,500. This allows for a positive cash flow going into 2025 in January of about $650,000. So with that, I'll let Daniel take over.
Thanks, Joe.
That was basically it. Anyways. So I guess just to summarize, this is a good standard budget, and it's adequately funded by the projected revenue that we are anticipating from the stormwater fee. And so it would be our opinion that you, as the stormwater board, give your recommendation to have council approve this budget.
Okay.
And with that said, so just so you know, the first batch of funds, if you will be coming in June of 2024. So we won't have any revenue until 2024 for stormwater management. So what I would hope we could do is from January to June is get those projects teed up, engineered, and ready to go, get them in the, as they call it, in the can, so that way we're ready to go with them in June and get those projects, executed and completed before the end of the year, or at least underway, and out to bid. So hopefully by August, a year from now, if you will, those projects are ready to go and teed up. And we're looking at about, what did we figure? About $190,000 for projects cost. I know that for ongoing engineering cost for MS4 compliance, we're looking at about $50,000 out of that $85,000 that we've got budgeted for ongoing expenses for MS4 compliance. So the remainder of those are for various projects, and there is $25,000 in here and contemplated for the vac truck, which represents 30% of the cost of that vac truck. The rest of the services and charges are general services and charges for the department's efforts. In 2025, I would probably recommend that we start taking a look at our staff considerations for 2025. But 2024, we're not going to do that just because we want to make sure that we've got a good, solid fund balance going into 25. And we don't expect the revenue until December of 2024. So we'll start with a good, fund balance going into it. We'll have a healthy balance in the stormwater management budget.
Okay. All right. Well, Daniel, thank you. And Joe, thank you. So you're basically looking for a recommendation at this,
I mean,
juncture?
I would probably take it under advisement right now. I mean, we're not looking to get anything adopted until October So the council meeting in October. So if you guys need to time consider it, that's fine. If you'd rather take action on it tonight, that's fine too. It's your
Okay.
prerogative.
What are you thinking, Vanessa?
I think this looks.
I know we're, Ken's not here this evening, and I know we just got this information, but, we can maybe, what's your thoughts? You want to take action now, or just look at it and then we can talk about it at the next meeting?
Because you said they're having their meeting, the town's having.
Yeah, we're having our first look at it tomorrow. So the town council hasn't, they've obviously seen it because we sent it to them, but, we're going to be having a presentation on the budget for the entire budget, which includes stormwater, police department, fire department, et cetera. So we'll have the entire budget presented to them, and we're not going to expect them to take action on it until we do our first reading, which will be next week at the meeting on the 20, whatever Wednesday. it is next
Wednesday.
week.
Following Wednesday.
Yeah, so we're gonna ask them to basically approve it, consider it on first reading, and then we'll approve it in October. So if we have to make any adjustments between then and October, then we have the time to do that. Obviously, we can't increase the amounts that we've advertised in the public notice, but if we need to make adjustments down on that, we can. I don't anticipate making any downward adjustments, and obviously, we can't make any upward adjustments, so the recommendation from you would be to go and, approve the budget as presented.
Well, my 2 cents worth, we've got some good momentum going here at this point, so, it's up to you. We can present this and put a motion out there and approve it, so things move forward on the council end.
My concern, yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve
And recommend.
and recommend, thank you, recommend.
Okay, we
the,
have a motion to approve and recommend. I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So, thank you.
And thank you.
And did you have anything else, Daniel?
No, sir.
Okay.
We do have one other matter to consider for new business, and it's the GIS Atlas update for the stormwater. This was actually approved by the Water Board yesterday at their regular meeting. And what we're looking to
Thank
do, I was going to say, if you wanted to kind of go through that, Jonathan, I would appreciate that, because
This one feels.
I know
well
there's some costs on that with respect to that.
So under reports and correspondences, Jonathan, feel free to discuss.
Thank you, Bob. As Joe was introducing, this is the GIS Atlases update, which would include water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer. What I just passed out only has the storm sewer portions as far as the exhibit and the list of properties that still need to be added to the atlas. So the color exhibit kind of shows what is missing. They're highlighted, and in red, I guess that's the best color a reference, I could call it red or magenta. It's like a dark magenta. So it shows the areas, and for the most part, these are developments of the more recent variety, but recent is only relative. It could be quite a few years, but.
And it looks like stormwater, there's a lot of gaps in the mapping here.
Yeah, it's not unusual that stormwater lagged, say, water main and sanitary because of some obvious explanations that would exist for that. But with the MS4 requirements, storm sewer atlases have become very important to have up to date, because IDEM prefers an up-to-date and accurate and detailed storm sewer atlas, outfalls, detention basins, so forth, your main outfalls, into creeks or ravines. We just use that word ravine. So these are all important. So that's really why this needs to be done. It then becomes also a tool for the town to quickly identify and locate something like when a report comes in about a certain area. It's all mapped, and in the system, you can add information, photos, they can all be attached and in there. And I know Jason could explain better how GIS functions with all the capabilities of it. And so it's a necessary thing, and that's why this is more to inform the Stormwater Board that this is also included, and it was thought of, the stormwater was thought of in this task order. So as far as like how you want to proceed with this board, Joe, I'm going to leave it up to you to direct it. I don't know if they need to recommend anything, approve anything, or not, or just be aware that this is in process.
So Jason brought up here on the atlas of the stormwater, if you will. And again, I don't know if this is a complete atlas or if these are the areas that we've identified that are missing and such. So these were, I don't know, how old are these? 2012, it looks like, last updated?
15.
2012. I don't know why it says 2012, but.
Because I didn't change the footnote.
Okay.
It was created in 15.
So we're talking, these are old, at least we have a starting point on where we need to go with these. So my concern is finances. We're not looking at finance or getting any funding for this until June. So how long of a project is this going to be? When could we start it realistically? I mean, obviously this is, September of the previous year. Again, June is a long way away.
Yes.
So how long of a project is this going to be, Jonathan? I didn't think to even ask Tom about this.
Yeah, I'm not even aware of the timeline he was thinking of, but
Yeah.
I do know that his recommendation would be that when you have water main, sanitary, and storm to shoot in the field or identify, it's best to do them all at the same time. It's the most efficient way to gather that data. Now, if, let's say, storm has to lag behind because
Right.
of a funding timeline, next June 24.
I mean, if you guys do the work and just don't anticipate to get billed or paid until, June,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, right.
But know that
And
we're
I'm
not
not
going
the
to have
one
any
to
funding
answer
for
for
this.
that, but, or give
Yeah.
you the, a
So
go
in other words,
but,
don't
yeah.
submit a bill to me in, December and
Yeah.
expect to get paid, because you're not going to get paid till June, July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
When the funds are there.
Yeah, it's worthy of more discussion to see exactly what Tom's thinking was under that scenario.
Well,
So,
I don't think he
yeah.
even considered it. I just thought of that as we were discussing budget and stuff like that. It's like, these are projects that obviously we're not going to get teed up and funded until June. Because we're going to get our first, batch of funds
Yeah.
for that. And we've under budgeted, if you will, based on our anticipated revenue.
Yeah, that's all, that all makes sense.
Looks like on the schedule here for the storm sewer atlas updates, it looks like it's going to be about 6 months
So, yeah.
process. So, timing wise, with the funding availability in June, that would bring us, excuse me, to the end of 2024. And I think that, may coincide with these other projects. I think this information is key to everything, and by looking at this map summarized, the red colors, there's quite a bit missing, and looking at some of these sections, there appears to be some gaps and things like that. So,
But
I
it
think
looks like, and I'm going back to the atlas that we have right here in front of our face. Have these atlases been considered in terms of our cost basis for the overall proposal that you're proposing? Because it looks like we have some of this information here already, and if we've got all this information, maybe that needs to change the cost.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
sent-
maybe there's more information that's on the 2012 update.
Or 2015, whatever this was. I
2015.
mean, obviously, this is 20
2015.
years old, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, this particular map is from 15. However, I have submitted all of the current GIS data that I have for water, sanitary, and storm to Sean,
Okay.
and he is got all of that. At least what I have is current.
Okay.
So if we can, I would ask that you guys defer this matter, because obviously there's no urgency on this right now. Defer this matter to the next, regular meeting. Maybe Tom can give us an update, but more importantly, I'd like to know how this plays into that, because I don't want to pay for I'm not going to pay for something that we've already got.
Yeah.
So if we can fill in a lot of these red spots on what you're looking at and kind of reduce the cost on this, then maybe that's the way to go with this.
No, that's a great idea.
And
So,
maybe
yeah.
there's reasons and justification for why we're doing it that way. I don't know. But we need to figure out, the right hand, the left hand, and make sure we're all together.
Okay.
Sounds good. I think it's a good time to defer this, and then you'll verify some information and make sure that they have the correct information,
Right,
and then we
right.
can
'Cause
look
maybe
at this
Robinson
later.
did not have, at the time when they presented this, the correct information. So if that's the case, then we reduce the stormwater cost. And
Yeah.
if it's considerable because we have updated information, then great. And if there's a reason or justification as to why we need to do that, then let's do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we'll then defer this until the time that the information is found and presented, so I will
Yeah,
just
if they
put that
wanna
on the
If they want to
agenda.
represent this to the board next month, that's fine.
Yeah. Sounds good. Bob, were you gonna say something
I
before I
was
interrupted? Okay. Okay, thank you, John. Was there any other additional reports you wanted to share with us?
that was all.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, town manager, any additional
Other than
information?
budget, no, nothing.
Okay.
I got budget on the brain right now, so.
All right, and Brian, anything? Good. Okay. I appreciate the information, thank you. And,
Motion.
anything? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor? Aye? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye.